your record in one night?
Drinking or
Women.
women?
1, 3 in one, yeah.
Yeah. No, and I've done 2 labels exceptions.
Like go-go bars and soy 6, soy 7, and how they operate. Can you share with us a little bit about, say, if someone's on the way here or planning to come to Thailand and they have no idea of like the pricing if they want to spend time with a female or ladyboy?
People say, oh, you're a dirty old man. So what do you want there, guys? Do you want to just to please you by sitting in his pub on his own, reading his paper?
How would you react and how would you go about it if your daughter was working in a go-go bar?
People, I was in London. It's just awful. You judge people by their car, by their house, like they wear. You just judge people. Pre-bar world, my life was very different. But you know, I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky because, you know, when I look around the bar scenes now, there are bars that struggle. So people come in on the back of the channel. If I didn't have the channel, I'd be as empty as everyone else. They don't really dig down into it. They just say to themselves, yeah, I'll open a bar. And here I am with hell frozen because I've opened a bloody bar. Yeah, it's just knowing your roles. You know, beer takes care of the girls, I take care of the bar. Michael, who's employed, Michael, he's my manager. He takes care of the customers. So between the three of us, we've got it pretty much covered.
Is Pattaya and Thailand still cheap? And is Pattaya still buzzing? Hello, and welcome to the Next Level podcast with me, Gaz Collins. Today, I'm with a Pattaya legend, Buzzin Pattaya. You may have heard of him. If not, check him out on YouTube. Thank you for being here, Trev. Appreciate it.
No, thank you for the invite.
Thank you, Trev.
Much
You're very welcome.
No,
You're
much
very
appreciated.
welcome. So this channel is focused around growth mindset. I am a mindset coach. However, as we are here in Pattaya, I'm making the most out of all of the big YouTubers we have in this city. And one of my previous podcasts with Nick Dean, if you haven't checked it out, please do, has really took off. So yeah, I'm giving you, the viewer, what you're asking for.
Yeah,
So
the
yes,
one with Nick was really good.
thank you.
I
Thank you. I
enjoyed it.
really did enjoy it
He's
as
a good
well.
friend of mine, and yeah, it was really good, really good.
Thank you, Trev. So please introduce yourself and tell the world what you do.
Well, my name's Trevor, and I am a YouTuber, stroke bar owner. I've got a bar here in the city. I've been here 11 years now, and yeah, it's just keep myself busy and just keep myself focused on what I like to do, and you know, just enjoying living in this beautiful country. I'm very, very privileged.
Great to hear. One thing that really struck me earlier on that Trev said he's been posting a YouTube video every single day for the past
5 years.
5
Yeah.
years.
Just over 5 years. You know, that's sad, isn't it?
Solid. I said to him, no, it can't be sad because it shows how much you're committed to what you truly love.
Yeah, it was a weird one because when I first started posting, obviously COVID had just appeared. And previous to that, I have a media company here, which I've had for 11 years.
Okay.
And so we used to do videos and go around and do interviews and stuff, pretty much like what I do on the YouTube channel. But then when COVID came, there was literally nothing to do. And of course, people were isolated. They couldn't get out here. The people that were here, there was nothing to do, myself included. So I started just walking around the city and saying, right, guys, let's have a walk around. Let me show you what's going on right here, right now. So, of course, I did that the very first time and people were like, that's amazing. Can you keep doing it? And of course, you know, suddenly it becomes a creature of habit. You know, if you're doing it every day, suddenly it just becomes normality. And then I get the fear of, I haven't done a video. God, I've got to do a video. I can't not do a video because, you know, it just becomes an obsession. And so during COVID, it was really easy during COVID because it was just an unknown factor that people didn't really understand as to how long it was going to last for. All of us, myself included, thought, oh, it's only a week, not 3 years. It was only a week. And of course, it continued and continued and continued. And because it did that, it kind of opened up a gateway where I just walked out and walked around. I was very lucky. I've been here quite a while, so I know a fair bit about the city. And yeah, it just become more, not an obsession. Well, it is an obsession, I guess. Yeah, it's an obsession.
Something that you pretty much do every single day and that you have a massive love for. It's
for me, the payback in doing what I do is not for me, I love seeing people come out here, particularly people that have been here for the first time, that follow the channel, that come out and say, Trev, I love all the information you give. You know, I walk around all the streets, I talk about what's going on in the restaurants, the hotels, all the nightlife here. I know that very well. I'll explain about that later. But it's just to see people enjoy themselves. You know, people come out here and they experience what this beautiful city and this wonderful country can offer. That to me is my payback. And I've got so many people have come out here and said to me, do you know why I'm here? No, why is that? Because of you. And I'm like, really? And they said, yeah. So I watched your video and I thought, I'm going to go to this place. He said, and I'm having a fantastic time. I'm like, well, brilliant. You know, that to me is worth all the money in the world, just to see the smile on someone's face when they come out here for the first time. They're like, this is brilliant. And they come up and say, Trev, thank you so much. I'm like, no, you're more than welcome. You know, so it's good.
And that's where I feel like you've really struck gold in your life and your career, when you're doing something and the money is sort of a bonus.
Yeah, I think where some people go wrong is that they focus on YouTube thinking it's going to be a money earner. And it's a very, very steep hill. It's a very, very steep hill you've got to climb before you get to that situation. For me, I was bored. You know, I'd had the media company. We were doing really well. It was nice. It was good. Everything was going well. I've been a photographer here for many, many years, and all the go-go bars, etc. But then when COVID came, there was nothing to do. I was just sat there thinking, what do I do? So then it gave me a reason to go out and share what I knew about the city. And, you know, for an old fuddy-duddy like me, I actually remember quite a bit, which was quite good. So it's handy. So I could go out and say, oh, guys, now, you know, outside Club Mrs. Baz is the man. He's a great guy, blah, blah, blah. To explain it all. And people like that. So when you start getting the interaction and the people were messaging me and the followers were going through the roof, you know, so many people following me and saying, I love what you do, Trev, keep going. It was just the inspiration. I thought, well, do you know, if you guys like it, well, then I'm going to keep doing it. And now, 5 years later, I'm still doing it. Well, not right now, but I will be still doing it.
Certainly. Only recently, I've read a book from Seth Godin called The Dip.
Okay.
Now, when you start something or in a relationship, you have the honeymoon period, and then all of a sudden, like the things you aren't getting exactly what you want, and it's not going as expected, sort of thing, or the followers aren't growing as fast as you expected. Now you're in a dip. Now going through that dip is the time where it's a trial to see if you're truly worthy of that achievement that you're going through. You with me?
100%.
Can you share with us some of the dips that you've gone through around your channel?
Yeah, it is a challenge because, again, you know, we're in a city and the city isn't as big as people perceive that haven't been here before. They think it's a massive, huge city, and it's not. It's a structure of 3 roads, and 3 roads going vertical, 3 roads going horizontal. You know, you got South Pattaya Road, Pattaya Klang, and North Pattaya Road. You got Beach Road, Second Road, Third Road, and that's it, really, in its nutshell. So the dips that you go through are: am I creating the content that people want to watch, or am I repeating myself time and time again because I'm going down the same soils? So that's really hard mentally, because you think, so, well, do I need to do other stuff? And one of the things I did, and luckily I've done it a long, long time ago, is I stopped watching other YouTubers. I don't watch any other YouTuber. And I've got some very good friends. You know, you mentioned you had Nick on. Nick's a very good friend of mine. Dave Strachan's a very good friend of mine. I've got some really good friends that are YouTubers. Phil at the pub, or not the pub now, is
Mr. Egg.
Rum Runner. Yeah, Mr. Egg at Rum Runner. These are good friends of mine. And the reason I don't watch other YouTubers isn't because I don't want to watch them or because I'm jealous or whatever. It's because if I'm about to walk out today and go and do a video down Trevs Road, and I happen to just go onto Nick's channel and he's just happened to walk down Trevs Road, I'm like, oh no, I can't do that now because he's just done it. So I isolate myself. I keep myself away from everybody else in terms of watching videos. And that way then what I do is because I want to do it, not because I'm forced to change because someone's just done what I've done. So, you know, when you are in a dip and you ask yourself a lot of questions, am I doing the right thing? Is this video interesting? Is people enjoying what I'm doing? And, you know, and unfortunately, like, YouTube is very analytical, and all the analytics, they try to drive you into this concept that, you know, your watch time, your click through rate, all these things that put you under immense pressure. So if you don't get the right results, you question yourself. Am I doing this right? Am I really? Whereas now, at the level I'm at with my channel, I'll be totally honest with you, I do it because I want to do it. If I get 1 view or I get 1 million views, I really don't care. I just want to do it because I enjoy it. And people come in and say hello to me and they say, I love what you're doing. So that to me, so the dip is creating the right content, trying to think outside the box. Too many people get stuck in a rut and you just find yourself doing the same thing all the time. It's trying to step away from that mundane, oh, I've got to do this today, I'm going to do that today, and make it enjoyable. You know, when I walk around, I love it because I'm seeing new things. Like today, to come up here, I did a video to walk up here. So I went up regional land and there's some changes already happening there, which I had no idea. So of course I'm walking around like, wow, look at this, guys, this has changed, this is new. So the dips are worrying too much about the analytics. If you concentrate on your channel and you work hard at your channel, the rest will follow.
Let's dive into your upbringing,
Okay.
Trev.
Okay.
So please share with me, who was the younger version of Trev?
Okay, so I had a very difficult upbringing. So I've never met my father.
Okay.
My mum brought me up on her own, and she did a brilliant job, and I love my mum dearly. But it meant it came with a lot of sacrifices. You know, my mum had no money. She was working as a cleaner in the fire station to provide food for me every day. My mum would eat every other day, so that I could eat every day. And we lived in a tiny little box room, and my uncle put a curtain across the middle. So one at the evening, my mum would sleep this side, I'd sleep that side.
Wow.
School to me, I hated school. I got expelled when I was 14. They kicked me out because I was a complete idiot. I was a total idiot. I had no respect for discipline. My mum gave me the best life she could, but unfortunately she couldn't discipline me because I was too big and I didn't listen to my mum. Like, Mum, what are you going to do? She'd whack me with a pan or whatever. She'd hit me, but I'd be like, and, you know, it just had no effect on me. And I had a very stupid life when I was young. I was very dangerous, and you know, I was into fights. I was fighting all the time, stealing, robbing cassette radios out of cars, and so on. I'm showing my age now, but I was doing all that kind of stuff, and I was in trouble. I was in some really bad trouble, and I was due to go back inside. And between the first court hearing and my final hearing, I applied to join the army, and I got accepted. So when I went to the final hearing, my lawyer said and gave him the judge my acceptance to the British Army, and so the judge suspended me for 3 years on the understanding I completed a minimum of 3 years in the army, and I did 6 years. So that saved my life. You know, there's no ifs or buts about it. It saved my life. But as a young kid, it was very difficult. You know, what does my mum do? You know, how could she control an uncontrollable kid? And when you're a kid, you don't have any sense of responsibility. Every day is just fun. You know, there's no, well, you know, you'll look back in life and think, I should have done. I don't care about that. That's old people's chat. I'm a young kid, so I'm going to go and tear it up and do what I want. And that was what I did.
It sounds like the exact mindset I had growing up, literally all throughout.
Yeah. The trouble is, you just, you know, when you're a kid, it's ironic actually. I've just been watching, when I do my work in my office every morning, I put documentaries on. I love documentaries.
Yes.
And there's a series at the moment about children behind bars for life, and about should they be given the opportunity to show remorse and you know, become a young man, be re-educated, channel their directions in the right way instead of what they used to do. And it was interesting because there's a guy in there, he's serving 3 life sentences for an armed robbery, but he's now a grown man. He's not the 14-year-old American kid that went out wielding a gun and tried to you know, hold a couple up and steal their property. He's now a young man. So is he now changed? You know, would that man now go out into society with a gun and do it again? Chances are he probably won't now, because now he's a grown man. But as a kid, you just don't think, there's no such things as consequence. It's just don't get caught.
And just living in the moment, the short-term gratification.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How was the army for you?
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely amazing. It's if you could bring in national service, I think it would make the world an incredibly better place, because I went in a very angry, very violent, very uncontrollable idiot, and I came out a young man. And I remember the very first day that I joined, I had this grown man screaming in my face because I wasn't marching in the right way, that he was going to rip my head off and shove it up my backside if I didn't get myself in order. I'm thinking, dude, you don't talk to me like that. You know who I am? You don't talk to me like that. And then within about a week, I'm like, I've got it now. Don't worry, I'm doing left, right, left, right, left, right. I'm doing everything you tell me, and it was amazing. And one of the most gratifying moments of my whole army life was on when I passed out. I was at Winchester. I was in the 3rd Battalion, Royal Green Jackets, and at the time our barracks was in Winchester. And on my passing out parades, you do 42 weeks basic training, and at the end of the basic training, so I started off in a squad of 146 people, and 37 of us passed out.
Wow.
We saw the journey through. But when I passed out, I got best at GPMG, and I got best at map reading.
What's the first one?
General purpose machine gun.
Okay.
So the big.
Yeah.
So I got the best on the ranges with that particular weapon and map reading. And my mum and some of my family and friends came to the passing out parade, and I've got a photo which is on my wall in my condo, and it's me and my mum when I was 18. I'd just done my basic training, and she gave me a hug. She was crying, and she said, "Son, I'm so proud of you." And for me, that meant everything, because for the previous 18 years, she was ashamed of me, and quite rightly so, because I would have been ashamed of myself if I was my mum.
Yeah.
So for my mum to turn around, hug me in tears, and say, "Son, I'm so proud of you."
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of hearing it.
Yeah,
it's touching me.
But it was so emotional. It was just like, wow, like I'd never had that before. And that, you know, then I went off to Germany. I was based in Celle in West Germany, what's called West Germany at the time. And that was my future. It was, and then I became a young man, started to learn my trades in the army, my skill sets. And it was just life changing. If I hadn't have done the army, no doubt I'd be a repeat offender. I'd be in and out of Nick all day long.
Yes.
And the trouble is, when you go inside, you just learn how to do it better. You know, people say, "Oh, you go to prison, you're going to get done in the shower," and all this kind of, it doesn't. It's not like that. If you look for it, you'll find it. But the reality is, what are you doing? What's your stretch for? What are you up to? Oh, you shouldn't have done it this way. You should have done it that way. And you're just learning to refine your craft of being an idiot. Whereas in the army, it made me a young man.
Do you remember any specific epiphany moment in the army that you can like go back to and go, right, that sparked something in my development and awakened me?
I think the biggest issue that you have is the first 11 weeks. So when I joined, you have 11 weeks of playing and being a soldier. And it's games. It's fun and games. It's a little bit directive. It's a little bit educational. Not much in the terms of discipline, but it's more fun. So they're trying to suss you out. They're trying to see what you're like as an individual, where they think they can steer your direction, etc. And I never forget this, because we stood on the, like I said, it was 146 people who started. And at the 11-week period, that's your first and only opportunity to do what it's called PVR, which is premature voluntary release. So we all stood there, and Lieutenant Trix, who was our lieutenant, he was in charge of us. He came out, we all stood to attention, and he said, "Right, we're now at the pivotal point of your career. Those of you that no longer wish to soldier and you want to leave, now is your opportunity to take one step forward, turn to the right, fall out, and go and stand over there." And we all stood there, and I'm thinking, I ain't going nowhere, dude. I'm staying here. I'm in this for the long haul. I won't quit.
Locked in.
And loads of people stepped forward, and they were like, "Right, over there." So we closed ranks, which means we all shuffled together, so we're a unit again. So we closed ranks. These guys were all stood over there, and Sergeant Ibbotson, his name was, Colour Sergeant Ibbotson. I'll never forget these people. You know, I'm talking now, what, 30 odd years ago, 40 years ago. He stood in front of us, and he said, "At ease." So we stood at ease. He said, "Right," he said, "take a long, hard look at those weak individuals over there." He said, "Take a long, hard look." And we were looking at him, we're like, "Yeah, okay." He said, "How weak are they?" He said, "They haven't got the minerals that you guys have got. You are part of the British Army. They are no longer." We were like, stood there thinking, yeah, look at us. Look at them weaklings over there. He said, "Right, now face the front." We all stood to look face front. "Right," he said, "you have got 1 minute. Get upstairs, red PT vest, denims, boots, let's go now." We were like, well, okay. So we ran in, got our PT vest, come down, put us into a unit. He said, "Right, turn to the right and let's go." And we ran from where our barracks was in Peninsula Barracks all the way up to Worthy Down to where the ranges were. And the whole time that we ran that, it was about 3.5 miles, but the whole time we ran, all they kept screaming is, "You're ours now, you're going nowhere, you are now ours, and this is going to hurt." And we were like, oh no, what have we done? why did I not leave? Like, oh my God, like this really nice guy is now a complete different person. He's shouting and screaming at me and beasting me. Oh man, it was horrific. But it was start of the career. It was brilliant. I loved it. You know, at the time I didn't, but I look back now, I think that was amazing. That was amazing.
Do you have any like quotes or statements that you took from the army that have shaped you now, that you hold on to?
I wouldn't say quotes, but I think what the army taught me was never say never.
Mm.
Never say never. You know, you might think you can't do something, but if you set your mind to it, and if you give it the best of your ability and you learn and you do the right thing, there's a strong chance you will succeed. And then whatever you think you can't do, you know, things like confidence tests, you know, walking along a ladder that's like 50 meters in the air and you hold on by a little bit of rope and you think, oh God, I can't do this. Oh no, you can. You just don't believe you can do it.
Mm.
But you just got to try and train your mind to say, come on, let's do one step at a time. Don't look at the far end. Look at what's in front of you.
Present.
One bit at a time, yeah.
Present.
So the army restructured my thought process and just gave me the confidence and belief that, you know, with the right attitude, with the right surroundings, the right encouragement, you can pretty much achieve most of the things you want.
Yes. So looking back at the boy/man that was before you went into the army,
Yeah.
and that was when you finished, what are some of the character traits that the younger version of you was missing?
Well, the army taught me discipline. It taught me structure. You know, the understanding of, you know, you got to be on parade at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're there at 7:30. You know, you're not 10 minutes late. There's no such word as late in the army. You can't be late. But it taught me discipline. It taught me to respect people, respect the opportunities I have in my life. You know, I traveled around the world with the army. I boxed in the army. It was fantastic. So, you know, I went to Germany, Canada. I went to Jamaica. I went back to England, Gibraltar. You know, I had some fantastic traveling moments. And so the army just, you know, when I was young, I had no respect. I just didn't care. I was not interested. And when I came out of the army, I was a proud young man. When I went in the army, I was a complete and utter disgrace to society. And I really was. If I was the father of me, I'd be ashamed. I'd be ashamed of what I was. But now, you know, I look at myself now and, you know, my life's been a completely different path and one that I can only be grateful for.
Do you have any stories that you'd like to share with us while you was growing up that you went through?
What, as in like my naughty times?
Yeah.
Oh man, I've got so many. God dear. I mean, I blew my neighbour's window out with an aerosol can.
Oh yeah.
I robbed my next door neighbour, who was a policeman. So I stole his VCR. So I was playing. So I was mucking about with her friend, and sorry, Steve, but my mate Stevie Ed, me and Steve, we were just two thick as thieves. We were terrible together, and Rich Thomas as well. But yeah, we were playing cricket on the side of my house with a bit of wood and a tennis ball. And anyway, I hit the ball, and it actually went into my next door neighbour's Georgian side door window, and it broke the bottom right-hand corner of the little panel. So I went to get the ball. There's a door there with a little glass panel that's missing, and I could see the key that locked the door in the lock. And I'm like, nah, shall we? And I said to Steve, I said, mate, look, have a look at this. And we were like, should we ever wander in? Should we do it? And he was a policeman. He was a copper. So we were like, yeah, let's do it. So anyway, so I put my hand in, managed to turn it, open it up. And so we're in his house now, and I'm thinking, oh, this is quality. This is quality. So we went around the house, and in the end, I nicked his VCR cassette recorder, the old videotape.
Yeah.
I nicked it, and I shoved it in my garage, in the back of our garage, in an old fridge that wasn't working. So I stole his VCR, and went back to my house, and I'm thinking, oh, damn, and, you know, you've done it now, haven't you? I can't go back and plug it back in. I've done it now. So of course, like you said, you live that moment for that euphoria, that sense of, oh yeah, let's do it. So I did it. And then I thought, Trev, you idiot, he's a copper. Of all the people that you've nicked from, you've just now burgled your next door neighbour and nicked his VCR. So I was like, oh, now what? I know what I'll do. So the old phone with the old dial, 999. I'd like to report, I've just seen someone in my next door neighbour's house. I think they're burgling him. And they were like, really? Okay. Anyway, because he was a cop, literally within, I don't know, 5 minutes max, they were there. And they were swarming the whole building, the whole of his house. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, quid's in, got away with this, happy days, happy days. What I didn't realise and what I failed to mention was earlier on in the morning, it had been raining. I didn't think nothing of it. So we were out playing because it stopped raining. Anyway, so the policeman came through, sat down. He said, what did you see? I said, I was just in my bedroom. I said, I saw someone run out the back and climb over the back wall. It looked like he was carrying something silver. I couldn't see what it was. I'm just making it up. That was it. So they left. And I'm thinking, yeah, get in there. Oh, I'm well away now. Now. This is easy. And about a week later, my mum had remarried. She married a guy called John who was very high up in the fire service. So he had a lot of police contacts. Well, one of those police contacts was a guy called Roger. So Roger came round, sat down with Val, my mum. And anyway, next time I got called down to the lounge. I'm like, oh, okay, what's this? My mum said, you sit down there. And my mum, she had that face. And when she pulled that face, you knew you were in deep, deep trouble. And she said, you sit down. Oh, okay. And Roger said to me, Trevor, he said, just want to go through something with you very quickly. He said, because I'm not sure. Go on then, what's that? He said, so you saw somebody carrying something run out the back and climbed over the back wall of Nick's house. Nick was a policeman of Nick's house. I said, yeah. You definitely saw that. Yeah, 100%. He said, you see, here's the problem, Trevor. He said, now, if you're running, he said, what are you doing? And I'm like, what kind of questions that? That's a stupid question. I said, well, you're running. He said, yeah, you're running. So you're running at speed, aren't you? Yeah. So therefore, you're quite heavy in your feet because you're running. Yeah. So why were there no footprints in the wet grass? And I was like, sorry? There's no footprints in the grass. So either he floated or you didn't see what you said you saw. And I was just like, I froze. I'm like, inside, because I don't know what to say. He's done me now. I'm like, oh no. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I saw him running. He said, there's no footprints in the grass. The grass was wet. The lawn had been cut. There is no footprints. So how could he possibly, unless he tiptoed, how could he possibly be running? And I was like, yeah, well, I can only tell you what I saw. And fair play to Roger, like he knew it was me. But he just said to me, he said, Trevor, he said, I suggest you think very clearly and very hard about your actions. He said, Val, I'll leave you with that. He went out the door, my mum chinned me. She full on walked, bang. I was like, Jesus Christ, I can't believe you've done that. Mum, don't you lie to me. She went ballistic, absolutely nuts at me. And all the time, the VCR recorder was in her fridge in the garage. And I took it up to a place called T&R Videos on Kingston Road, and I sold it for £5.
Really?
Yeah, and back then a £5 was so much money.
And you still pretty well got away with it.
Oh yeah. And I mean,
Give or take a punch.
No, I remember putting an aerosol can. You know, they say don't put aerosol cans in fires. Well, of course I'm going to do it. You tell me I can't do it, so I'm going to do it because I don't believe it. So I put a little bonfire in our garden, put an aerosol can in it. And me and my best mate Nick. Now, me and Nick were chalk and cheese. His family were religious. They were churchgoers. They were absolutely beautiful family. He was a really, really good-looking guy, and I was still looking like as bad as I look now. And he wouldn't say boo to a goose, whereas I was a local thug. I'd fight everybody and anybody, and I'd love it. So we were so different. Anyway, so I said to him, look, he said, no, don't do that. I said, no, we'll be all right. So I tossed it in the fire. Well, it must have been about 2 minutes. But it seemed like eternity, and nothing was happening. And I'm like, see, I told you. And then all of a sudden, literally went, and it smashed straight through the top bedroom window of the house at the back of us. I was like, oh, shit. So I like quickly closed the curtains. I'm like, oh, no. And like we're peeping through the curtains, see there was nothing. Oh, God, no. Anyway, about 5 minutes later, there's a bang on my front door. And she's there with a pair of garden tongs with this burnt canister. And she's saying, you just nearly smashed my bedroom and my baby's bedroom. You nearly smashed the window of the baby. And I'm like, it wasn't me. Don't you lie to me. Where's your mum? I said, she's not in. Anyway, she came back in the evening. And next thing I got, Trevor. I'm like, oh, God, I know what this is. And I went down and, faced the music.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've done some really stupid things. I smashed my mum's car up as well, but that's another story. And I got away with that. I actually got away with that. And I told my mum about 20 years later. Very quickly, my mum had parked her car in the side driveway. They'd gone on holiday. John took my mum away on holiday. So her car's, anyway, I didn't know how to drive, had no driving license. But my mate Nick knew how to drive. So we got in the car and I'm driving. I'm going forward and backwards, just short, sharp bursts. I said, I'll just do it one more. He said, no, come on. I said, no, just one more. And I went backwards. I'm aiming towards the garage doors now. And I broke, panicked, and I smacked the right-hand edge into the garage wall. I was like, oh, no. I'd smashed all the brake light, everything, the whole lot gone. I was like, oh, God, she's going to kill me. She's going to absolutely kill me. So I had a quick brainwave. I picked all the glass up, picked it all up. I knew my mum was going to come in, and I knew my mum had to bring the car out so that John could put his car in. So I'm thinking, right, okay. So my mum, they arrive. So I'm there with my bag. I'm like, right. I'm like, Mum, come on, I'll help you out. I'll stop the traffic. No, it's okay. So, Mum, so she's come out of the car and she's got in the front of her car. So she's not seen the back here. She's come down the front, got in the car. Yeah. So I'm stood at the front of the car. She's come out, she's parked on the road here. So she's opened the door. Now, any other day, she would have opened the door and gone around the back and come back in. So she would have seen it. So I'm like, Mum, what's that there in front here? She's like, what do you mean? I said, look, is that a mark there? Someone scratched your car, Mum. What do you mean? So she shut the door, came around the front. So now she's at the front of the car. Yeah, so the damage is here. So she's now gone out and around the front, looked at it, and she came around this way and went back in. So she had no idea it was there. So I got my bag, scattered all the stuff on the glass on the floor, and I went out. Came back home, my mum's in a major bad mood. I'm like, right, Mum? No, I'm not. What's wrong? No, I'm not happy. I've been back less than a day and some buzz hit my bloody car. No, really? I'm like, no way. And she never, ever knew. And it was about 20 years later. In fact, my mum, where was we? I think she was actually out here on holiday. And I sat down. And
Sweetened her up, did you?
Yeah, I said, Mum, remember that time when your car got smashed? Oh, God, yes. She said, I never ever. I said, you do know it was me, Mum, didn't you? What? I said, yeah, it was me. And I told her, actually. But yeah, I put my mum through hell.
Oh, did she have a good laugh or
yeah,
another punch?
No, she laughed about it. She laughed about it. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Let's move on to diving into like your experience in Thailand and Pattaya and why you decided to live in Pattaya, Thailand.
I've been married and I had an affair. I got caught and I lost my family over it. I lost my marriage. You know, my own stupidity. And anyway, and I'd had 2 years of a really volatile, horrible time surrounded by my wife's family. And, you know, I did what I did. I'm not going to make any excuses. I was an idiot and I just did it. So, and I lost my wife and my family over it. And the problem I had was that when I'd go out, I'd go into a bar or pub, as we called it back in England. I'd go into a pub and, you know, and there'd be certain people there, maybe one of her sisters, she had quite a big family, and they'd be like sniping away at me and stuff. And I just got bored of it. I thought, you know what? I can't be doing this. And I thought, well, I'll go on holiday. And I always go on holiday. I like going to big cities. So I like that. I've been like New York and, you know, I like big cities. So I thought, I've never been over to Thailand. Let's go to Bangkok. I had no idea about Pattaya. Never heard of it. Never knew about it.
What year?
That would have been 2000 and what we know, we're 2025, aren't we?
Okay.
That would have been 2008.
Okay.
And yeah, about 2007, 2008. So anyway, so I'd never heard of anything. Never heard of it. And I went to Bangkok. Absolutely loved it. I made so many bad mistakes because I was just so naive. I went to a soapy massage, not known as a soapy.
Oh, really?
I thought it was a massage. And I'm like, oh my God, like what is going on here? Like what, this is not what I was expecting. And when she gave me the book, pick which lady you'd like, I'm like, that one I'll do. Why? And I had no idea. And people say, you must. I had absolutely no idea.
Wow.
And so when that all started happening, I was like, oh, hang on, this isn't quite what I was expecting, but we'll carry on anyway. And yeah, so then I went down. I thought there was, if you look on the map of Bangkok, it looks like it's a tiny little beach. And so I asked the guy, I said, where's this beach? I said, I want to go to the beach. And he just burst out laughing. He said, we don't have a beach here. He said, you want to go to Koh Samui? I said, well, where's that? And he said, oh, you got a flight. I was, really? And I thought, well, I came out for a month anyway. So I thought, no, I'll sod it. I'll go down there. And I went down to Koh Samui, and then I stayed at the top of the island. So then I went to find Lamai and Choang, which were the two nightlife areas. And I was just like, oh, this is just different gravy. You know, I had 2 years of being lonely and you know, etc. Then suddenly I'm surrounded by these amazingly beautiful women. And then I said to this guy in a bar, It's in Chawang Bar, and he said to me, I said, oh, this is amazing. He said, this is rubbish. I said, shut up, what are you on, mate? I said, hey, can you say this is rubbish? Behave yourself. He said, you're in a Pattaya. I said, never heard of it. Where's that? He said, oh, and I thought, bloody, I've just come back. He said, you go there. He said, this place is rubbish. And I was like, no, I can't believe that. And it played on my mind. And then I spoke to a few other guys that I've met in the bars down in Luang and Chiang Mai. And I said to him, is this place Pattaya? And every time I said the word, their eyes just lit up. They were like, oh man, it's so good. So I came here and I came up here, and yeah, it was exactly like they described, like a kid in a sweet shop. And so then I went back home, and again, I walked back into a load of grief, and I thought, I can't be done with this. Can't be done with this. And I was financially, I was very lucky. I worked hard. I had a big company. I owned a company, window cleaning company. I sat down with my right-hand man, JC, and I said, look, I'm figuring out moving on, blah, blah, blah. And he was worried I was going to sell it to OCS or to Initial, which were the big guns in the window cleaning world at that time. And I said, no. I said, what we're going to do, I said, you're going to raise some money. You're going to give me some money. I'm going to lease you the company for 7 years. And in that 7 years, you're going to pay me, because I knew what the company was earning. I said, you're going to pay me every month. I said, at the end of 7 years, you're taking the company. I said, you're not going nowhere. I said, you've been my right-hand man for years. I said, you're not walking out. You're not going nowhere. Because if I sold it to OCS or Initial, I knew what they would do. They'd just take out all the big contracts and then collapse the company. And then all my staff would be made redundant. I didn't want that. So, I'm loyal. If you're loyal to me, I'm loyal to you. So JC had been with me many years. And that's exactly what we did. He raised some money, gave me a lump sum. And then he basically, the reason he raised the money is because he used my company as the asset to get the money for. And then he paid me every month for 7 years. He never missed a single payment. And now it's his company, and he's going on to bigger and better things. So I went back. I took my kids down to we had a caravan home down on the South Sea on Portsmouth, and I said to him, look, I really think the time's right for me to move on. My oldest son didn't care; he was happy doing his thing. He was an MMA fighter, so he was like, "Yeah, you crack on, Dad. I'm not interested." Emily was upset, but again, she kind of understood. And Aidan, he's the one that suffered the most. He was only a young kid when I did this, and he didn't really understand. So, 1 minute he's got dad, next minute he doesn't have dad. And, I used to see the kids quite a lot. And that's my biggest regret, was that he suffered the most. And as a consequence of that, our relationships suffered since. But again, he's a professional golfer now. He's out doing his own thing and living his life. We still keep in touch. We do this thing called Snapchat every day, which bores the crap out of me, but it's connecting with my son, so I still do it. Where we send each other just these stupid pictures. Half the time he sends me he's asleep, but it's like, whatever. But, and I saw him last year, which was the first time I've seen him for 7 years.
Oh, really?
And he's a professional golfer now. He plays off +7, and he's just turned 18. So he's got a good future ahead of him, as long as he keeps himself, focused. But yeah, it was just a decision. I thought, you know what? I can't be done with all this septic, toxic stuff in my life. And at the end of the day, you only get one life.
Yeah, and you've got to sacrifice. I mean, you can't have everything.
Well, the thing is, some people will agree with me, some people will disagree with me, and I appreciate that. It's personal opinion. But for me, as a parent, your duty is to make sure your children have a safe upbringing and a good surroundings, and provide them with the opportunities in life to move forward. I wasn't doing that because me and their mother were at daggers with each other. The family environment was toxic. So when there was a birthday, like, well, why is Dad not coming? No, he's not coming. He's not invited. Well, I want Dad to be, but he's not here. So just get on with it. So, and I thought to myself, there is going to come a stage where, as a parent, you're not required. When they get older, like, I don't want you to come around, Dad. That's not cool. I'm with your mates. You go and do your old age pension stuff and leave me alone. So, eventually, you are going to become redundant in terms of the necessity to provide for your children and to be with them. And I just said to my kids, I said, look, how would you feel? I'll bring you out. You come out here twice a year on holiday, which I did. And, they loved it. Aidan's been out here 14 times now. But he's obviously off doing his own thing. Matthew, my oldest, he came out twice, and he was mortified, absolutely mortified that this girl wanted to spend some time with him but wanted compensation.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he was an MMA fighter. He's a six-pack, big dude. And he's like, Dad, I'm brushing girls off for fun in England. Why? What is that about? And I'm like, son, welcome to my world. I said, if it's any consolation, the most expensive woman I've ever met in my life is your mother. So don't worry about it, son. You're getting a bargain. And Emily just couldn't deal with the heat. She couldn't deal with the heat. So she only came out once. But Aidan, yeah, he came out many, when COVID came, that was it then. And now he's off doing his golf career.
Wonderful. What are some of the attractions and things that Pattaya brings and offers you?
So again, this is more of a journey, because my first 2 years out here, I was living the Playboy lifestyle.
Mm.
I was living what people perceive to be the dream. I'm living the dream. But it gets so boring. Eventually, the nightlife gets so boring because you see it same day. Every day here's a Saturday. We don't have weekends out here. Every day is a Saturday. Tonight will be a Saturday. Tomorrow will be a Saturday. The day after will be a Saturday. Whereas in the UK, when I was back home, it was Friday night was out with the lads, Saturday out with the missus, or Friday out with the missus, Saturday out with the lads, depending on the football. So you had this like structure. Whereas out here, there's no structure. Every day is play day.
Yes.
So in terms of now, obviously now I've got the Buzzin Bar, which is in Soy Chaiapun. So I've kind of like gone back on what I'm about to say, because when I first came out here, it was amazing. First 2 years was amazing. Then it started to get a bit long in the tooth. And you're like, oh, I don't want to go out drinking. I can't be bothered. It's same old, same old. So then you start exploring. Like when you talk about Pattaya, people just see it as this seedy city that's just got one track pony. It's got 28 golf courses. There's more golf courses in Chonburi than any other part of Thailand. There are more tourist attractions in Chonburi than any other part of Thailand. We've got Koh Samet up the road. We've got Koh Larn across the road. We've got Koh Si Chang just further down there. We've got some beautiful, beautiful islands that you can go and explore. There's so much more. And of course now, if you look at the Pattaya now as to the Pattaya that was 10 years ago, the demographics changed tremendously. The 5-star hotels, I was just recently in the Amelia Hotel is unbelievable.
That second road,
yeah,
beautiful.
Oh, stunning! I was very lucky. I met with Peter James, who's the F&B director. He showed me around. It was amazing. So now that things change, nothing stays the same forever. So Pattaya now is changing. It's going through a very, very big change right now. The last 3 to 4 years have been huge, and I think there's still yet more to come. I think Walking Street is going to be very, very different in another 2 or 3 years' time. I think the entertainment zones will be pushed further back, second road, third road.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you look at like what they're changing now in the city, everything's gearing towards family friendly. So if you're family friendly, you can't have a go-go bar sat next to your fish and chip shop. You can't be doing that. So if it's going to be family friendly, they've got to do something with the entertainment. And I think what they'll do is they'll allow the nightclubs. So if you look in Walking Street now, there must be 5 or 6 Indian nightclubs.
Yeah.
Fair play, it's what it is. But what I'm saying is there's Indian nightclubs there. So I'm not going to go there. Not because of any other reason, but I just don't want to go to that music. It's not my style. So I'm going to go to Second Road. So if I go to Second Road, other people are going to go to Second Road. So if more of us go to Second Road, suddenly there's a big space in Walking Street to change it again. And they're just about to change the big sign, the Walking Street sign. They're going to make it a 3D sign now. So all these things are changing, and they're changing, pushing forwards in terms of stepping away from this seedy umbrella that we seem to be under and saying to people, look, we are changing. I mean, look at the change on Beach Road. They've done all that new paving. They've made it wider. They've cut down all the overhead cabling. In Walking Street, they've took down all the signs. Now, here's a good question. So, Walking Street signs, they took them down because it was a fire hazard. That's why they said it. They said, if there was to be a fire in Walking Street, that the fire engines could not get in there. That was their reasoning. So my question to you is, why is Soy 6 sign still there? Why have they not been taken down? Because surely that's a fire hazard too. And they're exactly the same. So because Soy 6 is further down, Walking Street is the attraction. But they also need to remember, Walking Street put the city on the map. And if it wasn't for Walking Street, we probably wouldn't be here. So yeah, it's changing a lot.
Can you share with us more information around how those first 2 years was when you got here?
The first 2 years,
Was it every day drinking or every single day?
Oh yeah, because it's party. And financially I was secure. I had no worries financially, so I could go out, and it was so cheap. I mean, it's just crazy. You'd be struggling to spend 1,000 baht.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. It was just so easy. And when you go out, and from an obvious point of view, when you're walking down the road and you're being approached time after time after time by beautiful, stunning women, and you know what the outcome can be if you wish. well, then you're just going to play. You're just going to throw yourself in. I was knee deep. I was knee deep. Now I'm treading in shallow water, but before I was knee deep.
In one night, how many? What's your record in one night?
Drinking or entertainment? Women 3.
One, 3 in one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done 2 ladyboys at the same time.
Wow.
But I was drunk when that happened. Yeah.
Ain't we all?
Yeah. Well, no, I've done it 3 times now, so I ain't learned my lesson. Yeah, I've had 3 experiences. One, I was absolutely convinced I was right and that there was no way she was a ladyboy. That was in Bangkok. I was in Nana Plaza. I'd had a really crap evening, really, really bad evening. Nothing was clicking. Nothing was going well. The girls that I liked weren't interested in me. The girls that were available, I wasn't interested in them. It's just one of those nights where it just all fell apart. And I remember going down to Hillary's, and I was outside the Nana. I used to stay in the Nana Plaza, and the concierge there has been since day one. He's a lovely guy. Anyway, this girl, man, she was so fit. Oh, God, she was tiny. Oh, I was just like, I can picture her now. And she was getting on the motorbike, I'm like, sweetheart. And she looked, I said, where are you going? I go home. Come and have a drink. Do you want a drink? No, I go. I said, come on. I said, I've had a crap night, please. Come on, come and have a drink with me. She went, really? I'm like, yes, really. Like, yes, come on. She's like, okay. So anyway, so she sits next to me and everything's perfect. You know, there was just zero indication. So I'm thinking to myself, right. So I said to her, I posed a question. I said, look, I'm staying in the Nan. I said, do you want to come over? She's like, yeah, okay. She said, you sure? I said, oh man, I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure.
Jackpot.
Oh man, I'm so sure. It's sure. So, and anyway, so we went over there and the concierge, like I say, he's Mr. T, calls me. He said, oh, Mr. T, tonight, ladyboy? I went, shut. I said, shut, what's the matter with you? I said, behave yourself. So she went round to the lift. I went to get my key, and that's what he said to me. Oh, Mr. T, tonight, ladyboy. I went, behave yourself. I thought he was just joking.
Yeah.
Go up to the room. I sit down on the bed, try and get a bit cuddly. She's like, none of it. No, shower. Okay, we shower together. No, I shower alone. I'm shy. Really? Oh, okay, well then go and shower. So she showered. I'm sat on the bed like, oh, come on. She came out with a towel and so I was like, come here. So she stood in front of me. So I put my arms around. I went to have a little bit of a play and she's like, no, shower. I'm like, God, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'll shower. I had the quickest shower in the world. It was like a nanosecond, like 1 drip, I'm done. I'm back out. The whole room, she's turned all the lights off. She's under the duvet and the far bedroom bedside lamp was on. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get into the bed, start kissing. Like, oh, that's good, no problem. She's playing around with me. I'm thinking, this is quality. I'm having a little squeeze. Yeah, that's great. Went down, there was a little pencil there. I'm like, you've got to be joking.
Oh, no.
I was like, no way. And she's like, I think you know. I said, well, I do know now. I said, I didn't know then. Oh, no. She said, oh, sorry. She said, I think you know. She said, okay, I dress and I go. I said, no, you won't. You're going to roll over and grit your teeth. I'm too far down now to quit. We're having it. So and that's what we did. Yeah. And I had a girl, a lady boy in Second Road. I came out Walking Street. I was absolutely plastered. And I was going up to go to Second Road to get on the BART bus. And as I'm wearing a kind of bumped into this blonde-headed woman. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. And she's like, oh, it's okay. And I was like, oh, wow, hello, flipping hell. And she's like, where are you going? I said, well, I'm going to go home. She said, you want to come to my room up there? I said, and I knew she was a ladyboy. And I was like, yeah, go on. I said, you can take care of me? Yeah, I take care. Good. Okay, no problem. So anyway, so we go to the room and I'm terrible. When I'm drunk, I pass out. The minute I hit something soft and I lay down, I'm passed out, I'm gone. So I remember vaguely laying down on the bed and what was happening. I remember the completion and then I kind of like nodded off. And as I woke up, I could see this. And I'm like, and she was finishing herself off, shot all over my face. I'm like, no way. Honestly, I was like, no way. Oh, I can't believe you've done that. Oh, no way. And she's like, oh, I'm like, no, tissue, like now, hurry up. And I was like, oh God, please don't go in my mouth, please. No, it was awful. And then I was in the Windy Inn and again, plastered, just so drunk. Going back to the Windy Inn and apparently I took 2 beasts back with me. And I woke up in the morning on the floor. My wallet was intact, which was a good sign. I just woke up on the floor in a mess. I was just like, oh, good God, what had happened? And I remember going out. I went downstairs. Reception was laughing her head off at me. She said, oh, you okay, Mr. T? You okay? I'm like, yeah, why? You sure? I'm like, yeah, why? It's okay. I'm like, no, it's not okay. Why are you laughing? She said, and I went over to it because at that time, Windy Inn had their restaurant opposite on the beach. And so I went across to get my breakfast and all the girls in there were laughing. And I'm like, oh, no, like what's going on? Anyway, I went back in. Reception said, everything okay? I said, come on, why? She went, you not remember last night? I said, not really. You remember the 2 lady boy you bring back? No way. Yeah, really? So anyway, I thought, oh no. Anyway, that was it. So, and then what happened was 2 days later, I'm walking down Walking Street to go out, and this big 7-foot brute, T, where you go? I'm like, oh my God, like, how do you know my name? Like, oh no, I'm just gonna, you okay? Last night we had fun the other night. You okay? I'm like, oh God, like, really? Like, oh, no way. And then the other side of the road, this other lady who came over, oh, T, you okay? I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? But yeah, so yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
That's all right.
T.
Hey, listen, it's Pattaya.
Appreciate you, man.
It's
Really
what it is.
do. While we're touching on the subject, let's dive into like go-go bars and soy 6, soy 7, and how they operate.
Okay, so well, they're all very different from each other. So you got the standard like open beer bar, and the open beer bar is just sit down, have a beer. You might have a chat with a girl in the concrete square. She'll sit the other side, or someone might come and sit with you. But it's just more of a beer drinking session, and meet your mates, etc. Set yourself up ready to go out for the evening. You've now got the go-go bars. Go-go bars are a completely different setup. They're behind closed doors. A lot of girls dancing on the poles, etc. There's a lot of variance in terms as to how much clothing they wear. There's a lot of variance available there. So again, depending on the place will depend on what you're going to expect. Nowadays is more of a gentleman's club scene than there ever was. Now there's a lot more gents clubs than what they used to be back in the day. But then there's a lot less go-go bars here now than what they used to be. So it's kind of like that natural transition. But a gents club is good fun. That's a much more laid back, more relaxed. Go-go bars, they often get a bad name because of the pricing, because it's so expensive. But you also have to understand that it's not just the go-go bar. The landlords are demanding incredible rent. I know places down there, their rent's $500,000 to $1 million a month.
Wow.
And that's just their rent. So if you're selling a bottle of beer, say a San Miguel Light cost price about 40 baht. So they sell it for 200 baht, let's just say. There's 160 baht, and you got to make $1 million baht to get your profit. $1 million baht profit to pay your rent.
So that's around 23,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they got the cost of all their service staff, the security, the police, the bar staff, the girls themselves. They're all on salaries. They all get paid. So, it's a massive, massive overhead. It's a huge amount. So, yes, the demands are high and the expectations are high when you go in, but of course the prices go with it. It's quite an expensive situation. Soy 6 has changed a lot. When I first came to Soy 6, it was all behind closed doors, and what goes on behind the doors stays behind the doors. Now it's all open beer bars, and it's lost. I don't want to say it like this because I don't want to put people off going. You need to go because it's an experience. Me personally now, as a person that's lived here for 11 years, it's not my cup of tea. There's a lot of younger women, which I don't really gel with. I like to be able to hold a conversation more than hello, what's your name? And also it's quite mechanical. Buy me a drink. Do you know?
Not much care.
Yeah, it's buy me a drink. You see up there. You want to go? Like, really? I've just, can I have another drink first or whatever. So it's not really for me. But it's still a good fun. It's still, if you haven't been, you've got to go. Just to say that you've done it. Same as Walking Street. If you haven't been to Walking Street, you've got to go just to say that you've done it. Because if you come out here and you go back home and say, oh, what was Soy 6 like? I didn't go. Liar. They're not going to believe you anyway. So just do it. You might as well just do it because you're going to get accused of being down there anyway, even if you don't go. But yeah, Soy 6 has changed. Soy 7 and 8, Nick, he's a good friend of mine. He's got some nice bars down there. You got Shooter's Bar across the road there. Is another good friend. There's some good bars. There are some good bars, but a lot of it's changing nowadays. The city's not like it used to be. And I'm only a newbie. This guys have been coming here 30, 40 years. They've forgotten more than I know.
Yes. Can you share with us a little bit about, say, if someone's on the way here or planning to come to Thailand and they have no idea of like the pricing if they want to spend time with a female or ladyboy?
Well, so you're going to have a few situations. So the first thing you're going to have is if you want to, you've got to be very careful. So like, okay, people kind of get the understanding. They think that if you walk into a bar and I buy you a drink, you are obligated to come out with me. It's not like that. So number one is make sure you got some familiarity with the person. Make sure you got a connection. Are they touchy feely? You know, are they playful? Are they? Because if you just sat there like this and drinking a drink, yeah, you don't want to be going anywhere because it's going to be a terrible experience because she's not interested.
Mm.
So if you do find there's a connection and the girl's smiling at you and you come down, want a drink, and she'll sit with you, puts her hand on your leg, plays around, has a bit of fun with you, you think, oh, okay, this is good fun. So if you've made now the decision that you want to take things further, number one, you have to compensate the bar, be it with a bar fine. And depending on where you are, bar fines range from 300 up to 2,000 baht. I mean, the 2,000 bahts in the walking street, some are even more, some are 2,500 baht. But again, it goes back to their expenses.
And the time of the day as well, isn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes. So if you go in at 8 o'clock in the night when the bar's just open, the last thing the bar owner wants is half his girls disappearing because they've been bar fines. So the bar fines are much, much more expensive. Come midnight, 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter. Then you've had the majority of your day or your prime time earnings. So now you can lower the bar fines. So you're gonna have the bar fine, and then you got to negotiate with the girl, and you know you gotta look at it a different way. Like, so if a girl says to you, yeah, it's 5,000 baht, you're going, hang about, sweet cheeks. I don't want to buy you for a week. You know, I'd like to spend some time with you for a few hours, not a week. What she's actually saying, she's pricing you out. She's giving you an indication she doesn't want to go, because otherwise she ain't going to pay. She ain't going to charge that much. So you've got to take the warning signs. If a girl says, oh, yes, it's 5,000 baht, you're like, okay, I'll save you the problem, because number one, you don't really want to spend any more time, which is fine. I understand that. It's no drama. But what she's saying to you is if you do pay it, she doesn't really want to do it, so she's going to do it for the money. And therefore the experience is going to be crap. Whereas if you find someone that's really interactive and you have a great time, you'll have a fantastic time, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. But if you ignore the warning signs, when a girl gives you a really stupid high price, that's a big red light going, hello, this is not what I want, but if you're going to do it, you're going to pay me.
Yes. What's the general pricing for short time?
Wouldn't know.
No.
I don't do it. I wouldn't know. I'd say probably 1,500 to 2,000 baht, I guess.
Maybe minimum 1,000 baht.
Oh yeah, you won't get less than that. I say that though, but if you go to some of the, like if you go around the Bangkok area, stuff like that, you'll get other stuff that will make you come out happy for like 500 baht.
Yes.
But you're not going to be.
And that's some of the massage places as well.
A lot of the massage places, yeah. Yeah.
But in my experience, most of them are not.
It depends where you go. So like if you go down, say, Soy Honey, then you'll be lucky to get a massage. You'll go in the massage place, be lucky to get an actual massage. If you go along Second Road, there's a few there that will partake. Soy Bukkao, again, Soy Bukkao, there's quite a few there that will happily, you'll come out with a smile. But if you want a proper massage, then realistically speaking, you need to go to like some of the beach road, places like that where it's not going to happen, or very unlikely.
My favourite one's by Soy Bukkao.
Which one? Where?
It's, you come out the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Turn left. Yeah. The first one on the left.
Okay.
Yeah, they always put in a great level of effort, and they're respectful, lovely ladies there. Yeah,
I mean, for me, like the best massage place here by a mile is the Blind Massage School.
Oh, okay.
Which is on North Pattaya Road. Because they're blind, they do it by feel, so they can feel your body and they can understand where you're not so and all the things. And they're really good. Hurts, but it's really good. You come out feeling like you've done 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, but about 2 hours later you think, oh, I feel really good. So yeah, the blind school massage, very good.
And then let's dive in to, like, say if someone wants to spend a week or a month with a lady.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it.
At all.
This place here is where dreams come true and hearts get broken. Because, and again, this is a very common conversation that you can have with people. People say, oh, you're a dirty old man because you come out here. So what do you want that guy to do? Do you want him just to please you by sitting in his pub on his own, reading his paper, waiting to die? Why is he not allowed to come out here and enjoy himself? Who gives anybody the right to dictate what an older man must do in their own country in order to not be bagged with this, oh, you're a sleazy pervert, blah, blah, blah. So for me, I think to myself, well, okay, I don't want to sit at the end of the bar with my newspaper, waiting to do the Sunday meat draw, waiting to die. I don't want to do that. I want to live my life. I've got a little bit of time left. Most people at that age have got money, so I've got money available. I'm going to come and live my life. Why should I just do what you want me to do just to please you and stop you judging me? However, by having the balls to come out here and to come and experience this and and change what's considered your life because you're now no longer sat at the end of the bar waiting to die.
Programmed.
Yeah. The problem you have then is that all of a sudden you got the attention from a woman that's half your age or less, and you're like, Jesus, what's going on here? And listen, no, it doesn't matter what age you are. You could be a young kid, you could be an old man. Everybody has a heart. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to feel loved. We all want to feel loved. When those girls that you come out here for give you that feeling, it's so easy. And I've seen it happen many, many times. It's so easy to be swept away and get caught into this wave of emotions where you think, I found the one. I found the one. And the reality is 99.5 of those ones are not. They're just there for the ride. They're there for the money. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye. So if you start, we call it the 3-day rule out here. If you start spending more than 3 days with the same person, whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not, you will start to have feelings because you're spending time with them. You're getting to know them. You're getting to know how they operate, what they think, their laughter, their sadness, all the things that make you understand how they work. And they're doing the same to you. They're figuring you out. So now you've got emotions. Now you're in a whole world of trouble now because it's that whole, what do I do now? I've got to go back home. If I go home, what's she going to do? I don't want to go with her. If I send you some money, will you leave the bar? Yes, darling, of course I will. Of course I will. And you're thinking, brilliant, she's going to save herself just for me. And it doesn't happen. And of course, I've seen guys here, I won't go into detail because it's not fair, but I've got a particularly good friend of mine, and he was in a relationship with a girl that he met in a go-go bar that I used to work in as a photographer. And he did exactly what you said. He went over to Koh Larn for 3 nights, then over to Koh Samet for a week. Then he came back and he tried to tell me that she was different. And I'm like, dude, she's not different. Mate, Trevor said, you don't know. He said, she's absolutely amazing. I said, no, she's just fulfilling your fantasy and your dream. I said, because you want to be loved. Anyway, long story short, he paid for her to leave the bar, to go back home, study university. And I was working as a photographer, and I went back into the said bar, and she was sat there with a said customer. And I was like, oh, okay. So I did all the photography, and then at the end, I walked up and said, how you doing? Hello. I said, it's funny university. I said, this kind of reminds me of like the go-go bar that we're in. I said, I thought you'd do. No. I come down to see my friend. What, this gentleman here? I said, you're a friend, are you? And he was kind of looking at me like, saying, what's he got to do? I said, sorry. I said, look, she's meant to be with one of my friends. I said, so do you know her name? Didn't know her name. Oh, you're friends, are you? I said, what's his name? Oh, you don't know. So let's cut the ball. Let's get to the point. You're doing what you said you wouldn't do, and you're doing it. So anyway, so I contacted my friend, and I said, look, mate, you're not going to like me for this. I said, but I want to be able to look you in the eye and say, I told you. I said, but listen, this is what I've just experienced. Completely went off the rocks at me. You're sticking your nose in, you're trying to cause me trouble, you just don't want me to be happy. And I'm like, dude, like, you're so wrong. This is just, I'm trying to show you what she's doing. She's not, no, that was her friend. I said, she didn't even know his name. How can that be a friend? Anyway, we didn't speak for about a year, more than a year, actually, about 1.5 years. And suddenly I got a message from him. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that such and such is pregnant. I'm like, really? I said, bloody hell, mate. I said, fair play. I'm like, congratulations. It's not mine. Oh, not your baby. Okay. He said, I'm sorry, Joe. He said, but you were right all along. He said, and it's not my baby. He said, I'm really sorry for... I said, listen, Lee, don't apologise. Don't apologise. Because if I was in your shoes, I'd have reacted the same way. Because you're trying to break my dream. I said, but the truth is you were just trying to look out for me. I said, but you don't need to apologise. Emotions run high. We all think of things when emotions are running high. We don't think about when we're just being logical. And she was just playing him. She just played him like a pack of cards. But, he learned his lesson.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Trev.
That's all right, no problem.
Appreciate it. Do you have any other memorable stories revolving around Pattaya and Thailand?
Memorable stories? Depends what you're calling memorable stories. I mean, when you're involved in the nightlife here, as I am,
it's non-stop.
You just see so many things that, nowadays it just becomes normal. Whereas in the past you think, wow, really, and I see guys all the time, but now I'm more, when I first came out, I was a judgmental idiot. Oh God, look at that guy over there. What's he doing? Oh, look at this girl. I was such an idiot because I was Londoned. I had London in me.
Programmed.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
in London, it's like how big's your house, how much money do you earn, how fast your car, what clothes are you wearing any brands, are you wearing? I mean, look at me now. I mean, AC/DC shirt on and a pair of jeans, a pair of shorts. I don't care. I couldn't. You could be sat there in a spandex swimsuit. I really wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I might think it's a bit of a strange interview technique, but it would. You know, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
When I first came out here, I was awful. I was so conditioned to judge people, whereas now it just doesn't bother me. I really don't care. I like, as long as you're happy, as long as you're enjoying yourself, I don't care. So these memorable stories, and when I see people doing things and things that happen, to me now it's just normal.
Yeah. Well, that one that you just previously said, that ties everything up. That says it all, to be mindful of where you're putting your effort, time and money into people.
I think with when you come out here, the one thing to really just keep on the back burner is don't believe all you see. You know, if you see a beautiful woman and she's paying you attention, okay, but don't think it's more than what it maybe possibly is, because you can easily get wrapped up and sucked in and spat out in pieces. And I've seen guys over the years, lose houses. I lost a house to my first girlfriend because I was exactly that.
Did you?
Yeah. When I came out here, as I said earlier, I had 2 years of crap back in the UK. I was really unhappy, and I came out and I met a bar girl. She was working in a gents club, she was working in a gents club in Payback, which is now gone now. And I fell in love with her. I broke the 3-day rule, broke the 3-week rule, 3-month rule. I fell in love with her. I was absolutely besotted with her because I'd had a really horrible time previously. I came out here, money wasn't an issue, and I was 42, she was 26, I think. Yeah, Denmark would have been, she was 26, 25, anyway. And I fell in love with her, absolutely besotted with her, because she paid me attention. She was affectionate. She was all the things I hadn't had for a long time.
It's like a shock to your system.
It was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was just mind blowing because, you know, you're not used to it. You know, and you know, to be fair, the women back in the UK, I'm sorry, but you know, what can I say? They bleep when they walk backwards, you know, beep, warning, wide load reversing, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I'm no Brad Pitt, so don't worry. I know the routine. But the thing was, this girl was stunning, and then of course I fell in love with her. We went up. She was family up in Somdet, which is up in Galasin, up in the north, and I built a house and restaurants and all the rest of it. And then she lied to me that she had cancer, and I'd lost a very good friend of mine at the time, who was John. He was 50 years old, died of cancer. It was so many years too early. And then she played that card on me, and I was mortified because I thought, God, no, I've just lost John. I can't lose you as well. God, I can't be doing this, because she just changed. She was really, really being horrible to me, and I couldn't understand why. And then she played the cancer card. And so I took her to all the hospitals. But at that time, I couldn't speak a word of Thai. I didn't understand anything. So I'm like, they're just talking gibberish to me. And all I do kept was paying for this treatment, and thinking that I was, you know, doing the right thing. And it was all bull. It was all rubbish. Yeah. And she actually ended up, she was kidnapped. She was gambling, and they kidnapped her and took her up into the mountain on the edge of Somdet. And I got a phone call saying, unless I paid 100,000 baht, they were going to kill her. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is different. So I went up there, I gave them the money, and she'd been beaten about a little bit, not too much, but beaten about a little bit, and I took her away. And then we just never recovered from that, because she was gambling, you know. And unfortunately, there's a lot of problems with gambling out here. A lot of the villages, you know, up north, they'll go and get a blanket and a pack of cards, and they'll go in the middle of nowhere and play and gamble their money away, and they don't have much money, so then they end up borrowing money from the loan sharks. So you borrow 1,000 baht, you're going to pay 100 baht a day until you pay the 1,000 baht back. So, you know, you're talking massive interest. And she didn't pay them back, and I had to bail her out. And then, of course, we split up. I lost the house, the car, the restaurant, everything. But you know what? It was just materialistic bullshit to me. I wasn't interested. I wanted my life back and some peace and tranquility in my life, not all this drama. So, so I took my 2 dogs. I've still got to this day. And I've got my 2 dogs, which are with my wife up in Karat. And I walked away.
Hard-earned wisdom there.
Yeah, I love my dogs more than her.
Interesting.
But it's you know, it's easy for people on the outside to look in and say, oh, you're an idiot, you're this. But you know, when you're in the throw of it all and you're not emotionally involved, it's very easy to cast your judgment. But when you're the one that's being manipulated and being played like a pack of cards, it's not as obvious, it's not as easy. It really isn't.
Certainly. While we're talking about go-go bars and go-go girls, There's a question that I had down that leaped off the page
Okay.
when you read it out, I seemed. The question is, how would you react and how would you go about it if your daughter was working in a go-go bar or within that
Well,
industry?
Okay, so let's just step back a little bit first. A majority of the ladies that work in the go-go bars here are working here because they've got no support for their family. They've got a child. And what happens, generally speaking, is Thai guys, I've got a lot of good, really, really good, solid Thai friends. I'm very lucky to call them my friends. But historically and far too common, the Thai boys will, these girls get no sex education at school, very, very little. So, of course, they don't understand the birds and the bees. So then along comes this young, good-looking Thai lad that wants to have some fun, gets her up the duff. Now there's a baby on the scene. Thai men are very, in general, I'm not saying everyone, but in general, are very quick to run away and say, "Whoa, that's not for me. I only wanted some fun." So now this girl's sat there with a baby. You don't get no social support out here. There's no government support. So you're on your Jack Jones now. So she's sat there cradling the baby thinking, "Oh my God, like the love of my life's just done one. I've now got my baby." And Thais are so family orientated. It's beyond belief. So now what happens is she gives the baby to mum and then she'll come down here to work. And the reason that most of them are here is so that they can afford to support their baby. And it's very different out here. So in England, what happens is mum and dad support the kid. That's the way it works. Yeah, the mum and dad are older, they've got their money, they support the kid. Out here, it's the reverse. The elderly people out here, like for instance, my wife's mum's pension every month is 700 baht a month. 700 baht. Her dad's is 800 baht.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're talking pennies. We're talking not even 1,000 baht a month for them to live and survive a whole month.
That's under £20 sterling.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. So then what happens is they give the baby to mum and dad or to nan and granddad, and they come down here to work. And most of the girls here are working. If you walk around the go-go bars or the bars in total, the bar scene itself, you walk around and you say to every girl, "Have you got any baby? And is the father still with you?" I'd say 8 out of 10 will say, "Yes, I have a baby." "No, I don't have the father. He's gone." So what do? They have to come down here and work. So if it was my daughter, I'm not going to lie, it would be very unsettling because I wouldn't want that because I'm English. So my natural reaction is to take care of my daughter, not for her to go out and do what she's got to do to take care of me. So I would take care of my daughter. But if I had no choice and she had to come and work, you see, this is another thing as well. Like, so one of the things I've learned over the years being out here is we associate sex as being a meaningful, loving, bonding thing that goes on between a man and a woman because they just love each other. The reality is, it's just sex. It's just something that happens. You walk away with a smile. She walks away with a smile. Happy days. It's just something that we do. It's like brushing your teeth. You know, you brush your teeth in the morning, you brush your teeth at night. Well, that's it. It's just brushing your teeth. Or if you have sex, it's just a transaction between two willing people. So, again, disassociating myself away from the emotions of that situation between two people. If it was my daughter, I'd say come down and fleece them, Ron. Fleece every guy you can, Ron. Promise him the world and deliver zero and take every single bar. Because that's it is what it is. But if I could send my daughter down here, well, I wouldn't do it because I'd take care of her. But you put me in a really horrible question here, but it's a great question. So I wouldn't want my daughter to come down here. But if I had to send her down here, God forbid it ever was to happen, but if I had to, then I would just say to her, listen, keep your wits about you. Don't put yourself in any vulnerable position. Make sure that your compass mentis the whole time. Make sure that wherever you're going to go, you've got a point of contact. And don't do anything that you don't want to do. And make sure that, you take protection. Don't come back with another baby. Make sure you take yourself seriously. So, yeah, I mean, you've done me on that one. The thought of that is just making my spine tingle already.
Oh, yeah. So what advice would you have for a lady in that industry if she totally doesn't want to be there doing it, which most of them don't? Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for them if they want to pivot to do something else?
Come down here to work but doesn't really want to work.
Yeah.
I would just
or she's even working here and she's got some money, or she hasn't got the money, but like, how advice could she pivot into doing something else?
I would tell her, don't believe everything you hear. Because again, it goes back to the guys that come out here. And, you know, I can only sort of like relate this back to, say, being in London. So, you know, some of the clubs you go to in London, you need to be earning big bucks before you can even get through the door. You need to be well established. And, you know, there's certain clubs that I used to go to because I was okay financially. You know, you're talking like big money. So the girls that came in here, you know, it makes me laugh. Like people judge these girls here in Pattaya and say, oh, you know, they're just out for the money. Listen, guys, let's be real. Come on. When I walked into, like, I go to Zenon's nightclub in London, which was a really good club, really it's expensive. You go in there, the girls know you've got money because you're in there. And the girl walks up and says, hi, what's your name? Basically, can I take you home tonight, shag you, and you're going to take care of me for the rest of my life because you've got a nice fast car outside, blah, blah, blah. It's out here, they don't do all that stuff. That's gone. It's just, hi, buy me a drink, do you want to go? So, you know, when the girls come out here, these guys, sometimes we call them the 2-week millionaires. You know, how many guys out here are ex-SAS? How many guys out here are ex-airline pilots or ex-astronauts? All these high-profile jobs that they think they need to say to the girl to impress her so that she wants to spend time with him. But when you're saying I'm ex-airline pilot, she's in the back of my mind going, ka-ching, oh yes, money, let's have it. And so she's going to likewise expect the expensive things. But if really, and I don't mean this in any way disrespectful, so please don't take this the wrong way, but if you're a factory worker, but you've made out you're an airline pilot, she's going to want airline pilot treatment. But you ain't able to provide it because you're sadly not an airline pilot. So now what are you going to do? So of course it's, you know, who's telling the best lie? How long have you worked here, sweetheart? Oh, my first day. Oh, well, how did you learn English so quickly? YouTube. Oh, really? So it's your first day and you can speak English? Wow, that's amazing. Of course it's not a first day. Let's not be stupid about it. But she's playing the game. What do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a Steven Spielberg's personal director, whatever. You make up these guys make up these jobs. I'm a corporate company director. Oh, really? Yeah. Right-hand man with Richard Branson, all this other stuff. The girls are like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Because if you were, you wouldn't be here. Because how many multimillionaires that are really genuinely multimillionaires come to Soy 6? I don't know many. I know some wealthy men, but I don't know multimillionaires that come here. And I'm not saying that they can't, but the likelihood of a guy like me that's living in London that's got a bit of money comes out here to enjoy themselves is far more than if I was a multimillionaire. Because if I'm a multimillionaire, I'm going to be on a yacht in the middle of the Caribbean with a surrounding of 20 beauties. I don't need to go to Soy 6.
I hear you. What are some of the, we've gone through that, haven't we? The biggest life challenges. Do you have any others that you would like to share with us that have made massive impact into the person you are today?
Thailand has taught me so much. You know, in many ways, in terms of, you know, we judge people. I was in London, it's just awful. You judge people by their car, by their house, by the clothes they wear. You just judge people. Whereas here, like when I go up to the village, most of my family walk around in pajamas. Most of the family walk around in pajamas all day long. No one gives a toss. No one cares. My next door neighbours, elderly ladies, they'll walk around in rags. Nobody cares. Yeah. Everyone doesn't judge you. They just care about, are you okay? And the thing I love most about Thais is they are just naturally sharing. They share their food, they share their home, they just care. They're such lovely, lovely people. I go up to home. I mean, I'm different now because like where we live, I'm the only Falang. So we don't speak English, we only speak in Thai. And initially I thought, my guard was up, left, right, and centre. So I'm thinking, nah, hello, here comes the ATM. And Mo said to me, she said, my family not like that. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I've heard this before. Here we go again. And I've been married 7 years now, and I love her to bits.
Great to hear.
When I first went up there, I was just sitting there all the time thinking, "Come on in. When are we going to go to the restaurant I've got to pay for? When are we going to go to this I've got to pay for?" Never happened. And now I'm just part of the family now. Now when I come up there, you know, Mo's mum will wander off. She'll come back and give me some food. I'm like, "Oh, should I tell you, you're not eating?" I said, "Do I look like I'm on a diet?" You know, I'm always eating, dying, don't worry. But they take care of you. So Thais, they've taught me a lot. Living out here has taught me to be more humble, be more respectful. Don't judge everybody because no one cares. And just enjoy life. And of course, the hardest thing for me by a mile is timekeeping. absolutely took me probably 8-9 years to get my military timing into Thai time.
Okay.
And it was like earlier today when we were here, we were slightly delayed. If that was me when I first came out, I'd be like, look, mate, I'm not being funny, but where are we? Like, you told me to be here and I'm here and what's going on? It would drive me nuts. It would drive me absolutely nuts. Whereas now I'm like, it's okay. And
yeah, what's springing to my mind is the culture. Is what we feel in England is wrong or right, totally different to what is wrong or right, or the view perspective in Thailand.
yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally. And they say there's no time like Thai time. At the end of the day, they just, in general, and also again, I just want to reiterate this, that where we are right now, this is not Thailand. This is not Thailand. This is an adventure city. When you take this out of Thailand, if I took you up to Korat now, or I took you, I'm very fortunate, I've been all around, but there is no place in Thailand that will be even close to like this.
Not Bangkok.
No. Bangkok, you've got Nana Plaza, you've got Soy Cowboy, you've got a couple of other
Koh Sam
areas.
Road.
Yeah, Koh Sam Road. Well, Koh Sam more backpacking, but yeah, you've got Koh Sam Road. There are some areas up there, but they're only tiny little digits. Whereas if you go to Bangkok, look how many 5-star hotels there are. Look how many 5-star restaurants there are. Look at all the beautiful things you can go, and all the shopping malls. Look at all the big malls, Siam, all these big malls. They're not dependent on the industry that we are fairly dependent on here. So when you go around Thailand, when you go to these different parts of Thailand, there's so much more available that's not entertainment orientated. So when I go home, it's like when I walk out step out of my car to the minute I step back in my car to come out, I don't drink. I don't have a single drink because I don't want to. I don't need it. I'm happy. I wake up in the morning at like 5-6 o'clock in the morning. I open my laptop, do my work like I would do normally. And then the rest of the day, I just chill out and just basically just do nothing. And then I walk around and see mum and dad. We'll sit down, we'll have food with mum and dad. Then Mo's sisters that are out working, they'll finish work about 5-6 o'clock. They come back, then we'll have some more food. And, then I just come home. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. Happy days. It's just lovely.
Nice to hear. Can you share with us a general day in your life in Pattaya?
My day in my life, what, right now?
Yes.
Oh, dear. You see, I'm a workaholic, and I have a very strong belief about my approach to work. So, and with anything, is I will never take on a project that I will not do everything to the best of my ability to succeed in. Because if I don't do it to the best of my ability and I don't leave no stone unturned, I will always regret thinking, could have done that. I should have done this. I didn't do that. I can't do that. I can't look in the mirror. I'm happy to fail. 100% I'm happy to fail, providing I've given it my very best shot and I've not missed anything. Because then it just means I wasn't good enough. And hey ho, it is what it is. We always, young kids, want to aspire to be world-class footballers. The reality is less than 1% actually make it, because that 1% have got it in them to do it. Me, I didn't. So when I do my day in my life is very different because I'm always challenging myself to make sure I do the best I can in order to make sure I've given it my very best shot. So I normally wake up about 6 o'clock in the morning. I've always been an early riser. That's the army. That's the military. You can't take it out of me. And even if I go out drinking till 1 in the morning, I'm up at 6. And I drink vodka, so I don't have any hangovers, 0 hangovers. Okay. I gave up beer about 2 years ago. Best thing I ever did. So I get up about 6. I shower, everything. I walk from my condo into the office. So I do about 6,000 steps to get into the office. When I'm in the office, then I'll do my work. Because right now, I obviously got the Buzzin bar. So I go through all the work from the paperwork from the night before. Do all the money, banking, etc. Go through all of that, make sure it's all ticked up and done. Then I prepare the float for the day ahead. Then I'll order the stock. The stock will come. I'll put the stock away, make sure that's all taken care of. And then I normally head off out to go and do my videos. So I'll go out and, depending on what my schedule is ahead, I might do 1 or 2 walkabouts, do the videos, and then they'll be in the stock ready to be edited by Bo. And then I'll do my walkabouts, or I'll just go out and maybe put my drone up and do some drone footage. I'm in the middle of doing some drone videos I'm going to put together, which will be out soon. Then gets to about 1 o'clock, I'll have lunch. I don't eat breakfast, so I'll have my food then about 1 o'clock. And then we open the bar at 2. So the girls are normally coming in from about 1:30 onwards. And then I open the bar, depending on what I'm doing. We do Kick streaming, live streaming on Kick, which is really popular. I'll then sit in the bar till probably 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And then depending on what happens, normally I'll get plastered. And, well, the trouble is, you see, it's difficult because you put yourself out in a position where people follow the channel. They can relate to me. They know me, and I love it. You know, don't get me wrong. I'm not being ungrateful in any way, shape, or form. But people will come in, Trev, man, I love your videos. I've been following you for like last years. Can I get you a drink? And I'm thinking, yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much. That's only number 15 today. So of course, you know, my life here rolls around just getting plastered. Pre YouTube, pre bar world, my life was very different. But you know, I'm very grateful. I'm very lucky because, you know, when I look around the bar scenes now, there are a lot of bars that are struggling. You know, there are a lot of bars that are struggling, and it's horrible to see because these are people's livelihoods. People have invested their money, could be their life savings. You know, they're trying to give themselves an opportunity to live here and do well. My bar is always busy, but it's always busy because I've worked so hard for the last 5 years to build up my channel. So people come in on the back of the channel. If I didn't have the channel, I'll be as empty as everyone else. You know, and I fully understand that, and I'm very appreciative. We've got some absolute diamond people that come in the bar. You know, so I've met so many people that have become my friends. I've met so many people I just love sitting down and chatting to, and the stories, and that is just phenomenal. And you know, I'm very, very lucky. But my day normally is, like I say, wake up at 6, do the paperwork, go out and make my videos, open the bar, sit down, talk to people. Sometimes I've got other things to go and do. I'll nip out and do them, or do my live streams or whatever, and then basically sit in the bar and get drunk.
I'm totally with you. So you just mentioned the bars. Some of the bars are a little bit quiet in Pattaya, and I've noticed that people on YouTube are doing videos about tourism is down in Pattaya and Thailand.
Yeah.
Can you share with us any advice you'd have for someone just about to open up a bar, or they're going through a quiet period?
If you're about to open up a bar, go to Bangkok Paddock Hospital and get your brain tested. I'm being honest. When you open up a bar, okay, so I get asked this question a lot. This is a very common question I get asked about. Trev, I really want to live out here. I think I might open a bar. And I'm like, dude, go in the toilet, look at the person looking back at you in the mirror, and tell him he's an idiot. Because when you come out, let's be honest, right? So you come out, you're going to open a bar, right? What kind of bar are you going to open? What's going to make you different? You're going to be a sports bar, because we haven't got any sports bars here. We've got no sports bar. We only got about 20, but you know, you're going to be a sports bar. So what's going to be different? Nothing. You're going to be a go-go, because we don't have any go-go's here. So, you know, what's going to make you different? What's going to give you the edge as an go-go bar that all these other go-go bars, some that have been established here for many, many years, have not going to, you're going to do better than them? How? I'm going to open a beer bar. Where are you going to get customers from? How are you going to find the customers? How are you going to get the girls? You know, all these questions that people, they don't really dig down into. They just say to themselves, yeah, I'll open a bar. You know, you've only got to speak to people like Nick Dean and, you know, Brian and people like Phil. Running a bar is not easy. I swore hell would freeze over before I opened a bar. And here I am with hell frozen because I've opened a bloody bar. But, you know, we've just had our 2-year anniversary, which was phenomenal. But, you know, when you open a bar here, you've got to have an edge. You have to have something. And don't think to yourself, yeah, but my mates are coming on and they'll come and support me. You've got to figure out. So if you're relying on footfall, if you're relying on passing traffic, well, then you're going to have to be in the prime areas. Well, the prime areas come with prime rent. If you're not in the prime areas, well, then how are you going to get the people out of the prime areas into your area? Because now you've got cheap rent, but you've got no customers. And if you've got no customers, how are you going to get any girls? The girls ain't going to sit there. Unless you've got a long-term relationship with the girls in terms they work for you for many years and they're just being loyal, because Thai people are very loyal. Unless you've got that build-up of relationship, the girl's sitting going, bored. And my friend in Walking Street is going, oh, yesterday I got 224 drinks. Really? God, is there any jobs done? I'll come down now. Because you don't have that footfall. So if you open a bar here, it's just incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. And I really honestly would say don't. And the guys that have got bars that are struggling, I just can only say I'm sorry.
Dive into some of the biggest challenges. How many staff members are you working with at Buzzin Bar?
About 32.
32. What's it like operating within that field?
It has its challenges, but again, you have to understand your role in those challenges. So like Beer is my mama-san. So she takes care of the girls. I don't get involved. Obviously, I'm the boss, but if a girl comes to me and says, Trevor, this boss, I've got this happening. I'm like, sweetheart, go speak to Beer. and then Beer will come to me with whatever it is, and then me and Beer will decide what happens, and then Beer will then go back and sort that out. So if a girl needs to go home, whatever, and she's got problems, you know, that's you talk to Beer. That's your sounding block.
Yes.
And Beer will talk to me. She'll come and say, boss, can such and such have some time off? Yeah, of course, no problem. Go away for it. So that side, yeah, it's just knowing your roles. You know, Beer takes care of the girls. I take care of the bar. Michael, who's I employ Michael, he's my manager. He takes care of the customers. And so between the three of us, we've got it pretty much covered.
Is Pattaya and Thailand still cheap? And is Pattaya still buzzing?
Yes and no. Yes, because you can still, you know, you can still walk around and see it and get 50 baht beers. You know, if that's your thing, then you can. But the entertainment side of things has become more expensive. There's no ifs or buts about that. And again, you know, from the perspective of the girl, if there are less customers, she has less opportunity to earn money. So therefore, then if she does have a customer, she's going to try and earn as much money from that person as she can. It's a business transaction. So she has to do that. But no, I think Pattaya is still well worth visiting. There's so much going on here. There's still yet more to come. I think the demographic of the city is going to change. There will be a lot more things changing in the near future, and I think they're going to be looking to bring in a different kind of clientele. But I don't think that will affect the entertainment industry, because I think the entertainment industry will just push back a bit further, and we'll kind of have our zone, and then Beach Road and Walking Street will have their zone. So yeah, if you go to Walking Street, of course it's expensive, absolutely. But then you'd expect it. If I took you into London, if I took you some areas in London, you'd be having your pants down. You're like, Jesus Christ, how much?
And it's supply and demand, isn't it? The past 2-3 years, Thailand's shut up. Everyone wants to be. It's the #1 destination.
Yeah.
So it's in their power to up the prices.
Yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job. You know, I love it. I love living here. I've been here a long time. I'm very lucky. But yeah, you know, but then on the other side of the coin, if I take you to the village, you couldn't spend 1,000 baht a day if you tried.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, it's horses for courses.
What are some of the most asked questions you get?
Most asked questions. Where's a good bar? Where's a good go-go?
Go for it.
What's a good gents club? Just normal day-to-day like questions about where to go, you know.
Go for it. Fire him up.
Yeah, I get them all the time. Like,
Yep. The #1 bar.
#1 bar. Oh, it's so hard because like, I don't
Apart
like,
from yours.
Well, no, I wouldn't say mine is. Mine's a warm-up bar.
A warm-up bar.
Yeah, I'm a warm-up bar.
Got you.
Yeah, you know, if you come into my bar and you think you're going to see all this and that happening and you're going to be interacting, no, I don't want that, because as the owner, as the bar owner, the girls are now my family. They're not employees. They're part of my family, because we see each other on a day-to-day basis. So I don't want some guy coming in thinking he can buy 2 or 3 drinks and that's all going to happen. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Now, if she chooses to go off later on with you, that's her choice. There is no part of her contract says she has to do any of that. All I say to the guys is, you come in, they won't beg you for drinks. They won't push you for drinks. You'll get a cold towel when you sit down. The girl will sit with you if you want to sit with you, and you'll just have a nice, relaxing time. It's a warm-up. Then go off and have your fun. Go across the road to Maggie Mae's. Maggie Mae's, your eyes will pop out.
Okay.
But in my bar, they won't.
Okay.
Nothing will pop out in my bar. I don't want that. So, you know, it's very different. These girls are not my staff. Whereas if I owned a bar and I had a manager, then that's different, because I wouldn't be in the bar. It's just an investment. So I wouldn't really care so much as such. But because I'm there every day, no, these girls are my family. I don't want to see it. And it doesn't happen. I've been there 2 years in the location we're in now. And I think in the 2 years, I've had 2 guys that have tried it on. I said, listen, my friend, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong kind of bar. Please have all those drinks on me and just pop across the road. Go and see me.
Got ya. How about go-go's?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, for me, back in the day, who remembers Club Misties with Baz? That was brilliant. Angel Witch was brilliant. Alcatraz was brilliant.
How are they comparing to Windmill?
Windmill's special.
Yeah.
Like in LK Metro, you got Kink, which is the LK Metro version of Windmill.
Oh, okay.
But Windmill's still very, very popular, very busy.
Yeah, crazy in there.
Well, it used to be X-Zone. I don't know if you remember X-Zone, but X-Zone was, again, I remember the first time I went into X-Zone, I walked up the stair, they had a fire stair, a steel staircase, walked up the staircase, went in. The first thing I was greeted with was a girl on the end of a podium here with a KY jelly in one hand and a glove, a plastic glove.
Okay, what jelly?
A tube of KY jelly.
Okay.
And a plastic glove.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh my Lord, she's like, I'm like, no, not yet. I'll just have a beer, please. So yeah, but I mean, you know, it's all. You might like a particular go-go bar for maybe their special offers. You know, like Destiny in LK Metro have got great drink price offers, early stages. You might like go to Queen because the girls have got big bangers. So you think, yep, that's my cup of tea. I'll go to Queen. So you might like Queen and hate Destiny. Destiny might like Destiny and hate Queen. So it's not fair to say the best. There's all I will say to you is no matter what you're looking for, you do have ample opportunity to go and find what you're looking for.
Yes. What advice would you give your older self coming to Pattaya in those 2 years? So someone's coming from England to retire or live over here.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
You know, if you're coming out here to live, you need to do a long-term holiday first. Don't come out here for 2 weeks or a month and think I could live here, because that's a massive mistake. Come out here for 3 months, if you can 6 months, and get acclimatized, get used to it. Realize that this is not a fantasy, this is real world now. Because that fantasy that you lived in earlier may actually become boring, and you might think, you know what, I don't like it here. So, you know, you need to do 3 or 6 months definite and then make that decision.
Totally. I'm with you. Thank you, Trev. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, not really. Just, you know, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for inviting me onto your channel. It's great. And you know, if you follow me on my channel, then what I'll do is we're going to cut this up and do some highlights.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and then I'll put the link. So come and follow Gaz, and you know, it's great. I wish you all the best. I really
Thank you. And also, Trev's invited me to come and sit down with him, and we're going to switch roles.
I'm going to give you the same question you give me.
I look forward to it.
No, it's been a pleasure.
I really, really do. Thank you for watching, guys. If you've gained value and you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know why you've enjoyed it. If you have any further questions that you would like to find out, add it into the comment section, and please hit the like, subscribe button,